Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take your sort of materials, your research, and your questions and transform them into immediately useful, high-impact knowledge.
Hello, everyone.
You've brought us a fantastic, and I have to say, an incredibly practical stack of resources today. It's all focused on English pronunciation, specifically for the non-native speaker.
And this is particularly exciting because this material represents the second deep dive in our sequence on English learning. We're sort of moving from the invisible mechanics we discussed before.
Right, the subconscious stuff.
Exactly. And now we're getting into the very physical hurdles that, they really require rewiring your mouth.
Exactly. And this is the great part. We are diving into the listener's own shared content today. This is the source material for the second episode of the English learning content, and it's titled The Sounds That Don't Exist in Your Language.
A big one.
A huge one. So if you're a regular listener or this is your first time, we are absolutely delighted to have you with us.
And you'll be hearing from Jamie and Alex today as we guide you through this. Our core mission, really, is to pull out those non-obvious, those crucial details about sounds that are difficult for one specific reason.
What's that?
It's because your native language just never asked you to use that particular muscle movement.
Before we jump into, the mechanics of the tongue and teeth, I have to mention the feedback from the last deep dive on this. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So many people wrote in saying they had never heard of the schwa sound, that little sound.
The lazy vowel.
The lazy vowel.
Yeah.
And that learning about it just fundamentally changed their listening comprehension. It was a massive aha moment for so many.
And that's such a key piece of information for setting the stage today. The schwa is, let's say, an internal structural element of English.
Yeah.
It's all about rhythm and stress.
Right.
But today's topic, these non-native sounds, is in many ways an even bigger hurdle because the learner's brain is literally not wired to even recognize them. We're not talking about a sound that's just a little bit subtle. We're talking about a sound that is completely foreign to your auditory processing system.
So you're saying, if I grew up speaking a language without a certain sound, my brain doesn't just hear a new sound. It hears what? Damaged audio.
That's a perfect way to put it. It hears damaged audio for the closest existing sound it knows. So it's not just that the sound is awkward to say, we're talking about a genuine linguistic blind spot.
A blind spot, I like that.
Precisely, and this is so critical for you as a learner to understand. If you grew up speaking a language that doesn't have, say, the TH sound, your brain gets that acoustic input and it immediately tries to match it.
To its internal library.
To its library, exactly. It searches for the closest file, which might be T or F or S. It's an automatic substitution. The brain is just trying to make sense of the noise.
Which means the learner isn't just mispronouncing. At the very beginning, they're actually mishearing the sound. The input signal gets filtered.
It gets filtered through the brain's native language operating system. That's exactly it. The brain hears that friction from the tongue between the teeth and just decides, nope, I don't have a file for that. That must be a T.
Ah, so that's why just repeating a word over and over doesn't always work.
It doesn't. You have to train the ear first, and then you can train the mouth. But the good news, as we're going to explore today, is that you absolutely can train both your brain and your mouth to do this.
And that is the goal of this entire deep dive, to give you those practical, actionable mechanics for your muscles. Which is a perfect time to say, if you are finding this material valuable,
yes,
the kind of specific insight that really transforms your practice, please do us a huge favor. If you're on YouTube, we'd love for you to subscribe to the Majy Talent English podcast channel.
Turn on those notifications.
Definitely. We're releasing these detailed deep dives regularly, and you really don't want to miss them.
Okay, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Let's start with the biggest offender, the one that challenges millions. So let's start with the one that is, it's arguably the most famous difficult sound in English.
The TH.
The TH. It's such a signature sound, and when it's mispronounced, it instantly flags a non-native speaker.
It really does. But why? Why does the whole world seem to struggle with this one sound? You'd think a simple little friction sound would be, more universal.
Well, it comes right back to that linguistic blind spot we just talked about, the TH sound, and it's important to say both its voiced and voiceless versions. is absent in just massive language families.
Like which ones?
I mean, think about the global scale. Spanish, French, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Russian. Speakers of all of these major languages typically lack this sound.
So there's no corresponding motor skill in the brain to even activate.
None at all. So we've established that if your native language doesn't have it, your brain is just going to substitute it with its closest cousin.
And what are those common substitutions? What do we usually hear?
Well, it varies a bit, but the main ones are T, F, or sometimes S. For example, a lot of Asian language speakers might default to a T or a D, so think becomes tink.
I've heard that.
Whereas speakers of, say, French or German, they might be more likely to substitute it with an M or a V, so a word like three could come out sounding like free.
And that substitution can immediately change the meaning, or at the very least, it just causes a major roadblock in the conversation.
A huge one.
But we have to address something crucial here. TH isn't really one sound, is it? It's two. And learners often lump them together.
Absolutely. We have the two TH twins, and getting this distinction is, well, it's crucial for mastery. You have to know whether to use your voice or not. The mouth movement is identical, but the result is completely different.
Okay, so let's define them. Let's start with the one that's just air.
That's the voiceless TH. It uses only air. Your vocal cords are totally relaxed. They're not engaged at all.
It's like a whisper.
It is. It's a whispery, high-friction sound. We hear this in words like think, thank, Thursday.
Right. And at the end of words, too, like bath or cloth.
Exactly. It's just air escaping.
Okay, so that's twin number one. What about the other one, the one that I feel like I hear even more often?
That would be the voiced TH. This one absolutely requires your vocal cords. It creates a very clear, definite vibration in your throat.
And you find this one in all those little super common words, right?
The glue words, the words that hold English sentences together. This, that, there. And of course, the most frequent word in the entire language.
The.
And also in relationship words like mother or brother.
This feels like a perfect chance for a practical test for everyone listening right now to actually feel that difference.
Let's do it. The quickest way to anchor this physically is to place your hand right on your throat.
Okay, hand is on my throat.
Just at the base there. Now, try the voice sound. Say the word this. Maybe extend the sound a little, like threes.
Threes.
You should feel a definite buzzy vibration under your hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like a little motor in there. It's humming.
Now, clear your throat and try the voiceless one. Think.
Think?
Just air. You should feel basically nothing, no vibration, no buzzing in the throat itself.
Think. Wow, no vibration at all. That is such a profound physiological difference. You can feel it instantly. But I suspect most learners have no idea they're supposed to be switching that vibration on and off.
They don't. And this leads us right to the physical mechanics, which are the keys to unlocking both sounds and finally breaking that substitution habit.
Okay, but hang on a second. Before we get to the mechanics, isn't sticking your tongue out, even a tiny bit, considered kind of sloppy or informal in a lot of cultures?
That is a brilliant point, and it's a huge cultural hurdle.
Right. A learner might think, for clear, formal speech, I need to keep my tongue tucked away.
And in many languages, that's true. The tongue stays behind the teeth. But for the English TH, that slight protrusion is, well, it's non-negotiable.
Not negotiable.
If your tongue stays tucked behind your top teeth, you will, by definition, produce a T sound every time.
Ah. So the real difference between T and TH isn't just friction, it's the physical location of the tongue.
That's it. The crucial technique is this. The tip of your tongue must be placed between your teeth. It doesn't have to stick way out, just enough to lightly touch the back of your top front teeth.
And then you blow air?
And then you blow air out across the pip. That specific position is what creates the friction without totally blocking the air, which is what a T sound does. A T is a full stop.
Okay, let's break down what happens when that positioning is wrong. We mentioned the T substitution. Think becomes tink.
And that risks serious confusion. Context can't always save you. The source material had a perfect minimal pair example here. The confusion between sync and think.
Right. Imagine you're in a meeting. You want to say, I think we should proceed, but what comes out is, I think we should proceed.
Or even worse, the S substitution, I think, becomes I think. If you use the S sound, you're literally saying you are descending into water.
Or you're talking about the thing in the kitchen where you wash dishes.
The entire semantic universe of the word just changes. From a cognitive process to, physical immersion. the T, S, and F substitutions, they're catastrophic for clear communication.
This really highlights why this sound isn't just optional, it's essential. Now, you had a pro tip for visual learners trying to nail this.
Yes. Since this is a visible sound, you can use your eyes to learn. I tell everyone, watch native speakers' mouths in videos, in movies, even just talking to people.
Because you can actually see it.
You can. When a native speaker says though or that, you can literally see the tip of their tongue flash out for a millisecond and then retract. You need to map that visual action to the feeling in your own mouth.
It's building a new motor habit.
That's all it is. So practice those mechanics, tongue out, blow air, and don't forget that crucial voiced versus voiceless distinction.
Okay, moving on from those tricky friction sounds, we now get to the liquid sounds. R and L.
Another massive global challenge.
This is one that's often cited as the #1 most difficult pair for East Asian speakers, right?
That's right, yeah. We specifically highlight the RL confusion as a major struggle for Japanese, Korean, and sometimes Chinese speakers. And the reason is that they often have a single sound, a single phone in their native language that falls somewhere acoustically between the English R and L.
So because they don't have to differentiate the two, their auditory system just lumps them into one category.
It just hears one sound.
And the consequences here are, they can be huge. Maybe even more so than the TH sound in some cases, because of all the minimal pairs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about the examples from the sources. Rice versus lice.
Classic.
Imagine that conversation. I had rice for dinner versus I had lice for dinner.
Yeah, one of those is a lot less appetizing.
Or right versus light. Are you giving directions or talking about the opposite of dark? The mistake can be instantly misleading and sometimes, yeah, hilariously inappropriate.
The stakes are high.
Okay.
Let's deconstruct these two sounds, starting with the one that is so unique to English, especially the North American version, the American R.
The American R is structurally unique because it's a non-contact sound. This is the key. The tongue does not touch anything in your mouth.
Wait, I need to really get that.
Yeah.
If it's not touching anything, how is the sound even shaped? What's happening?
Instead of contact, the sound is shaped by a deep curl. It's a process called retroflexion. The body of the tongue curls back deep into the mouth, and it gets tense up near the palate, but it never actually makes firm contact.
So it's floating.
It's a floating sound. And at the same time, your lips get a little bit rounded, which creates this very precise, narrow tunnel for the sound to come out.
So it's all about tension and shape, not a contact point. This explains why it's so hard to replicate. It's pure muscle memory deep in the tongue. Let's try some examples.
Okay, let's feel that deep curl. Try words like red, run, really, very. You should feel the tongue pulling back and getting tight, almost deep in your throat.
Red, run. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel that tension.
Now for the really hard one. The R at the end of a word, like in car or perfect. The tongue has to maintain that curled tension even as the sound is fading out. If you relax that curl too soon, the R just disappears.
It becomes ca instead of car.
Exactly. That deep curl is the absolute signature of the R. Now let's pivot to the L sound, which is the complete opposite. It absolutely requires contact.
Okay, so this one is more physical, more anchored.
Much more. For a clear L sound, the very tip of your tongue has to make a definitive, firm touch on the alveolar ridge.
And remind us, the alveolar ridge is that firm, bony ridge right behind your top front teeth.
Correct. The L requires a firm touch right there. It creates a block in the center, and that forces the air to flow out around the sides of the tongue. That lateral airflow is what gives the L its quality.
The source had a great demonstration for this. Just say la la la.
Good.
La la la. You can feel your tongue tapping that ridge every single time.
Yeah.
That crisp contact is totally non-negotiable for a clean L.
So the contrast couldn't be more stark. You can visualize it. R is floating, curled, deep, and tense. L is anchored, touching the front ridge and lets air pass sideways.
Let's use that contrast in practice. We'll go through some minimal pairs. And for everyone listening, pay attention to where you feel the movement in your mouth. Back and tense for R, front, and tapping for L.
Focus on that physical shift. First up, right and light.
Right. Tongue is curled back, it's floating. Light tongue tip taps the ridge.
Good. Now read and lead.
Read that back curl again. Lead, a definite front touch.
Now for a tricky one, because they're common verbs, correct and collect.
Getting this right is the difference between being accurate and, well, gathering items.
This is one of those areas where I see learners get so frustrated they can hear the difference, but their mouth just won't cooperate.
It's because that old motor pattern is decades old. It feels so simple to a native speaker, but when you think about the sheer physical effort it takes to rewire that, to train your tongue to stop touching the ridge for R, you really gain a lot of respect for learners.
You do.
Yeah.
And that realization is so important for being resilient. Now, a key tip from the sources for anyone struggling with this: don't rush. Don't try to use them in full sentences right away.
So isolate first.
Isolate. If you are mixing up R and L, your job is to master them separately first. Drill that tongue movement until it feels automatic. If you can clearly say rock and then lock slowly, then you're ready to start putting them into short phrases.
That focus on isolation is so critical. And, before we move on from liquids, if you're finding these mechanical breakdowns useful, this whole idea of a floating tongue for R versus a touching tongue for L, that is exactly why we do these deep dives. So we want to invite you again to subscribe to the Majy Talent English podcast channel on YouTube. Hit that button so you don't miss the next stage of your pronunciation journey with us.
Okay, our next set of difficult consonants, these are the labial sounds, V versus W.
The lip sounds.
The lip sounds. They're often confused because they both involve the lips, but they use them in fundamentally different ways.
And this overlap problem, it affects a slightly different group of speakers, right? We're talking more European languages where the sounds are sometimes swapped, but also some Asian languages.
That's right. Speakers of Spanish, for example, often use a B sound for the English V. Or they might struggle to differentiate V and W because they don't have that same strict requirement for either lip rounding or friction. In German, V often sounds like an F.
And the confusion, again, can lead to some really clear miscommunication. You mentioned the example of west versus vest.
Yeah, simple one. Are you talking about a direction west, or are you talking about a piece of clothing, a vest? The semantic difference is huge.
Okay, let's nail the mechanics for V first. This one is all about friction. Kind of like the TH sound, but we're using different tools.
Exactly. The V sound mechanics are defined by controlled friction. The key technique is that your top teeth must lightly touch your bottom lip. This is a must.
It really does feel like a gentle, controlled bite of your bottom lip, but you're still letting the air in your voice escape.
It's very light contact. And then you push air through that tiny gap. And, this is crucial, you make sure your vocal cords are active, they're vibrating.
That's what creates the buzz.
That combination creates the continuous friction, the buzz. Try the example. Very, very, very good. You should feel that bottom lip buzzing against your top teeth. That buzz means your voice is on, the friction means your teeth are engaged.
And if a learner misses that lip-to-teeth connection, what happens?
If they just use their lips, they'll end up making a B sound. Berry. If they get the placement right, but forget to turn on their vocal cords, they'll make an F sound. Fairy.
So both the friction and the voice are totally non-negotiable for V.
Right. Now compare that tight frictional V sound to the W. The W sound mechanics are completely different. They are purely about rounding and then release.
So zero teeth involved at all.
Zero teeth contact whatsoever. The key technique here is that your lips must be rounded and brought together, forming a deep pucker.
Like you're about to whistle or give a kiss.
Exactly. Or blow a bubble. The sound is produced by the opening or the relaxing of that rounded shape.
It's like a really quick voiced ooh sound that immediately transitions into whatever vowel comes next.
That's a perfect description. Say, we will win. You should feel your lips moving forward into that pucker and then relaxing. The mouth position for W is circular and protruded, a rounded tunnel.
Whereas the mouth for V is sort of rectangular and tight because of the teeth on the lip.
That's a fantastic visual analogy. V is tight and rectangular. W is rounded and puckered. Let's practice some minimal pairs now, focusing entirely on changing your lip shape.
Okay.
Remember, friction versus rounding. First up, vine and wine.
Vine, teeth on lip. Wine, lips rounded. I feel it.
Good. Now, vet and wet.
Vet, wet.
And very versus wary. The emotional meaning here changes dramatically.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Completely different from I'm wary of the situation.
Yeah. So mastering V and W really just means learning two distinct motor patterns for your lips and teeth. Once you separate the actions friction for V, rounding for W, the sounds become so much easier to produce consistently.
We've spent a lot of time on consonants, which involve, contact or friction. But now we have to enter the vowel minefield.
Yes.
This is where English really starts to separate itself from so many other languages.
It's the sheer quantity. That's the problem. Let's just restate the scale. Many phonetic systems, like standard Spanish, might only have 5, maybe 6 core vowel sounds.
5.
English, depending on the dialect you're looking at, has approximately 15.
15. So a learner's ear has to differentiate between 3 times as many sound possibilities, and a lot of them probably sound identical to an untrained ear.
They do. This huge vowel inventory gap is why these subtle differences in vowel length or tongue placement are so incredibly confusing. If your native language doesn't use, say, a tiny difference in tongue height to differentiate between 2 sounds, your brain just treats them as the same sound category.
It just files them together.
Right.
Okay, we're going to focus on 2 classic confusion points. Let's start with the one every single English learner runs into. The short I versus long E. Sit versus seat.
This mix-up is constant. The source material mentions some great real-world examples. Think about saying, I want to seat down, instead of I want to sit down.
It's understandable, but it just sounds completely unnatural.
Yeah, it does. Or the classic ship and sheep. One is a giant boat, the other is livestock. The entire meaning hinges on a tiny muscle change in your mouth.
Okay, let's define the physical mechanics. Let's start with the short I. How should my mouth feel?
The short I is the relaxed vowel. It's the lazy one. Your jaw drops just a little bit, your mouth is pretty loose, and crucially, your tongue is lower and more in the center of your mouth. There's no tension, no stretching.
It's what linguists call a high front lax vowel. High in front, but the muscles are relaxed.
Exactly. Practice these words. Sit, bit, hit, ship. Feel how easy and short that vowel is. It should feel totally effortless.
Okay, now for the long E mechanics. This is the one that requires muscular effort. The high front, tense vowel.
Yes, the long E is the stretched vowel. To make this sound, your lips have to stretch horizontally, almost like you're making a slight smile.
Like you're saying cheese for a photo.
Precisely. And your tongue is higher and further forward in your mouth, almost touching your upper side teeth. It's tense, it's elongated.
It's a very deliberate effort to hold that sound and create that high-pitched quality.
Yes, let's practice these. Seat, beat, heat, sheep. Feel the tension in your cheeks. Feel that slight smiling action that pulls the sound forward and makes it longer. If you don't stretch, you will always drift back to the short, relaxed I.
Okay, let's run through the minimal pairs to really cement that difference between relaxed and stretch.
Okay, focus on the muscle tension in your face and jaw.
First, live and leave.
Fit and feet. Chip and cheap. That physical distinction, relax for I, smile for E. That is the absolute key to producing the sound correctly every time.
Okay, but to really justify calling this a vowel minefield and not just a vowel speed bump, we should probably address another major vowel confusion. The difference between the short O sound and the AEW sound, like in caught versus caught.
This is an excellent one to bring up. This distinction is actually lost in some North American dialects, but for clarity, it's crucial. The vowel in caught, the short O, is a low back vowel. Your mouth is pretty open, your jaw's dropped, and your tongue is low and pushed a bit to the back.
Like in lock or rock.
Exactly. Now, how does that feel compared to the vowel in caught, the AW sound?
How's that different?
The vowel in caught, which linguists write as low, it requires more lip rounding and more tension. The sound is also held just a little bit longer. Your jaw is slightly less open than for caught, and your lips are rounded, almost like you're making a little O shape.
So it's the lips again.
It's the lips. If you fail to round your lips for caught, it's going to sound identical to caught.
And so if I ask someone, did you see the big cot? Meaning a small bed, but they hear caught, the past tense of catch. The conversation just gets confusing.
It gets confusing. Mastering English vowels isn't just about moving your tongue front to back. It's about highly precise vertical placement and these very subtle lip shapes. And that is often the hardest motor skill of all to acquire.
We've been talking about mechanics this whole time, and the source material provides this brilliant, non-obvious point where grammar and sound mechanics just intersect perfectly.
Yes.
The rule for the present simple third person S.
This is such a good one. The present simple is the workhorse of English, right? We use it for facts, habits, routines. Everyone learns the rule. I practice English, but he should practices English. You need the S.
But As you pointed out, most textbooks just stop right there. They teach the rule, add an S, but they fail to teach the crucial sonic reality of it.
Which is that this S actually has 3 different pronunciations. And if you don't use the correct one, it makes you sound hesitant or unnatural.
Okay, what are the 3 sounds?
They are the clean S, the buzzing Z, or the added syllable pose. And the rules for which one to use are based entirely on the sound, not the letter that comes right before the S.
So it's a rule of phonetic harmony.
It is. This is a major insight. Let's break down the rules.
Okay, rule 1.
Rule 1, voiceless sound ending. If the verb ends in a voiceless consonant sound, so there's no vocal cord vibration like P, T, K, or F, you have to pronounce the S as a clean, voiceless S sound.
S.
And why is that? Why does it have to be a voiceless S?
It's all about efficiency. It's about maintaining consistency. If you tried to add a voiced Z after a voiceless K sound, your vocal cords would have to switch on and off really rapidly, just for that last consonant. It's inefficient and it sounds clipped.
So the mouth just continues the voiceless airflow it was already doing.
Exactly. So we hear no buzz. Examples: stops, walks, eats, laughs. If you put your hand on your throat for stops, you should feel silence after that P and no vibration for the final S.
Stops. Yeah, nothing. Okay, so that's rule 1. What's rule 2? Rule 2, voiced sound ending. This is where the vocal cords are already humming along. If the verb ends in a voiced sound like B, D, G, M, N, L, or any vowel sound, you must pronounce the S as a voiced Z sound. Z.
So the vocal cords are already active for the last sound of the verb, and we just keep them on for the suffix.
You just maintain that voiced quality seamlessly. So examples: robs, reads, sings, runs, and plays. If you do the throat test on reads, you should feel that unmistakable buzzing vibration go right from the D into the Z sound.
Let's do a quick pair to solidify that contrast. Everyone listening, say these 2 out loud. He cooks versus he cleans.
Cooks ends in a voiceless K, so we say S. Cleans ends in a voiced N, so we must say Z. That subtle switch is absolutely key to sounding natural.
Okay, that difference is vital. There's a third rule, one that's even more complex because it actually changes the syllable count.
Right. Rule 3, sibilant sound ending. If the verb already ends in a sibilant or a hissing sound like S, Z, CH, SH, or X, the English language can't physically add another S or Z sound right next to it.
It would just be a mess of hissing.
A total mess. So to solve this problem, we add an entire extra syllable, A's.
So the A sound as a short I vowel and then a Z sound.
And it changes the syllable count. Watch is 1 syllable, but watches becomes 2 syllables. Watches. Other examples: passes, kisses, buzzes, teaches.
And this rule is essential because if you try to say teach plus S without that extra syllable, teaches, it's just impossible to say clearly.
The word sounds mashed and unclear. Adding that simple short I vowel is like a little bridge. It makes the articulation clean and easy. Understanding these 3 faces of the S is a huge step toward fluency.
Let's do a quick application practice mixing them up.
Give me a voiced example.
Okay. She manages the store. The GE sound is voiced and sibilant, so we use tes. Nay tease.
Perfect. Okay, my turn. He helps his colleagues. The P sound is voiceless, so we use S.
Good one. She loves her job.
Ugh.
The V sound is voiced, so we use Z.
Excellent. This just shows that speaking fluent English isn't just applying a grammar rule from a book. It's applying a phonetic rule based on the sounds around it.
We have covered a huge amount of mechanical detail here, from the tongue on TH to the 3 rules for the S. But none of it works without the right mindset.
And the right training for your ears.
Right. Let's start by just acknowledging the awkwardness of it all.
Please, it is okay if placing your tongue between your teeth for TH feels ridiculous. Or if forcing your lips into a tight rectangle for V feels like you're pulling a muscle.
That awkward feeling is actually a good sign.
It's a great sign. It's your sign that you're successfully breaking a decades-old motor habit.
So it's resilience in action. Now let's bring in 2 idioms from the source material that relate directly to the patience this all requires.
Okay, the first one is get the hang of it. This just means to learn how to do something, to become comfortable with it through practice.
It implies a process, not some instant result.
Huh.
So you could say, at first the R sound was impossible, but after a few weeks of practice, I'm finally getting the hang of it.
Exactly. It validates the struggle, but it celebrates that incremental progress. The second idiom is the timeless classic. Practice makes perfect.
Simple, powerful, and absolutely true for this. You cannot learn these new tongue positions without repetition. Your brain needs thousands of correct reps to make the movement automatic.
Which leads us perfectly to our ultimate confidence tip. You have to train your ear. It's the absolute prerequisite for accurate production. If you can't hear it, you can't say it.
You cannot produce a sound you can't correctly identify. My brain has to be able to tell the difference between think and sync, or right and light, before I can ever tell my mouth how to make the difference.
Exactly. So how do we do that? How do we engage in active listening that's more than just following the plot of a TV show?
Well, the starting point is immersion, but it has to be active immersion. Watch movies, watch YouTube, but watch with intent. Pay conscious attention to the mouth movements of the speakers.
Especially for those visible sounds like TH, V, and W. It connects the sound you hear with the physical action you need to copy.
Okay, what about subtitles? The sources had a very specific strategy for subtitles.
Yes, the advice is to use English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language.
And why is that so important? Why avoid the native language subtitles?
Because your goal is to forge a direct, strong connection between the sound you hear in English and the word you see in English. If you use native language subtitles, your brain can just short-circuit the whole process. It reads the translation and ignores the English audio.
So it bypasses the learning opportunity.
It bypasses it completely. English subtitles force you to connect the phonetic reality to the lexical reality. It reinforces the pronunciation lesson.
That's a great strategy. Another brilliant tip from the sources was using the speed controls on video players.
Yes. Use the tools you have. Almost every player lets you watch at 0.75x or even 0.5x speed.
Which must make those fleeting sounds, like the voice TH or the final sound on the third person S, so much clearer.
Dramatically clearer. You can really isolate them. You can hear the friction on the V. You can hear the difference in vowel lengths. Once you can hear it clearly at half speed, then you gradually speed it back up to normal.
It's like slow motion strength training for your ears.
That's exactly what it is.
I love that. Okay, finally, you suggest using music. I find a lot of singers can be hard to understand. So how do you use music effectively?
You have to be selective. Pick music where the singer really enunciates clearly. Start with pop or ballads or maybe country music.
Probably avoid starting with rap or heavy metal.
Probably avoid those at first, yeah. The speed and the style can complicate things. The best way to do it is find lyrics online and sing along.
And the great thing about singing is that it's low pressure. It's almost automatic.
It is. It's a motor task, but you're distracted by the melody and the rhythm. And that often lets you produce the sounds more naturally with the right stress than when you're consciously drilling them. It integrates the muscle work without the pressure.
That's a fantastic, holistic way to bring all these tips into your daily life.
Yeah.
Hashtag outro.
Whew. That was an extremely intense dive into the physical reality of English pronunciation. Let's do a quick-fire recap, the 7 big insights we pulled from the sources today.
Let's do it, starting with the big consonant challenges. Number 1, voiced versus voiceless TH. Remember, tongue between the teeth and check for that vibration.
Number 2, R versus L placement. R is the deep, curled, floating tongue. L is the tongue tip touching that ridge behind your teeth.
Number 3, V versus W mechanics. V is all about friction teeth on lip with voice. W is all about rounding puckered lips.
Number 4, the vowel minefield. We focused on short I versus long E. That's the relaxed versus the stretched mouth. And that subtle lip rounding for sounds like cot versus cot.
Number 5, the 3 crucial pronunciations of the third person, SS, Z, and Ds. The rule depends on whether the sound before it is voiced, voiceless, or sibilant.
Number 6, the 2 idioms to keep you going. Get the hang of it. And the classic, practice makes perfect.
And finally, number 7, the ultimate confidence tip. Train your ear first. Use active immersion with English subtitles and that slow speed function before you demand perfection from your mouth.
That is a huge amount of focused, actionable knowledge. So for everyone listening, here's your homework assignment.
Okay, homework item 1. Practice the TH sound every day. Find 5 common TH words, both voiced and voiceless, and say them 10 times each. That's 50 reps. Feel the awkwardness, embrace it.
Homework item 2. Watch one English show or movie this week with English subtitles. Focus on mouth movements for RL and VW words. Use the slow speed function. Rewind it 10 times if you have to.
And homework item 3. Practice the third person S rules. Write 10 sentences about a daily routine. He wakes up, she works, he teaches, and say them out loud, making sure that final S sound is correct.
It's all about building new, precise motor patterns. If it feels weird, that's just your brain learning. Be patient.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a sprint. Every single correct rep builds that muscle memory.
So what's next? What's coming up?
The next deep dive is going to be incredibly important for clarity. Maybe as important as the schwa, but on a bigger scale. We're going to tackle word stress.
Ooh, a big one.
We'll talk about why stressing the wrong syllable, saying record, the noun, versus record, the verb, fundamentally changes the meaning and how well people can understand you.
That's huge. You can have all the right individual sounds, but if you put the stress in the wrong place, the listener just gets lost. Stress is rhythm. Don't miss that one.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this intensive breakdown. We want to remind you one last time, if you're watching or listening, please subscribe to the Majy Talent English podcast channel on YouTube.
Yes, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. Tell us which sound is the absolute hardest for you. Is it the TH? Is it the RL distinction? We want to hear from you.
We read every single comment, and your feedback really does shape the content we create.
Just remember that every time you intentionally adjust your tongue or your lips to make a correct English sound, you are literally changing the wiring in your brain. That's not just linguistic knowledge, it's a new motor skill that opens up a whole world.
You've got this. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Alex.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.